when you look at North Korea and South Korea, you see this iconic photo, darkness in the north, light in the south. You know, North Korea is connected throughout the world through illegal activities, proliferation of weapons and training in conflict areas around the world, counterfeiting money, counterfeiting drugs, trafficking methamphetamines, and cyber attack. We are all vulnerable to North Korean cyber attacks. So their illicit activities are affecting the world. South Korea is also connected to the world, but in a good way. It is the 10th largest economy in the world. It is exporting Korean drama and K-pop, but it's also a partner in the arsenal of democracy, supporting free countries around the world with advanced military technology that the United States can't provide. It also chooses to be a peaceful nuclear power. It has 24 nuclear power plants and exports nuclear power around the world. And so it's a very strong country. But this peninsula, this small place in Northeast Asia, really sits at the nexus of really a tinderbox. It has the second and third largest economies on each side of it, China and Russia. It has two nuclear powers, China and North Korea, and a rogue nuclear state of North Korea. And it has the largest concentration of military forces in the world. The fourth largest army in North Korea, the sixth largest army in South Korea, China, Russia, Japan, and a U.S. military presence. And so, as Namsik said, what happens on the Korean Peninsula is going to have global effects. It will affect us here at home, whether there's war, whether there's regime collapse, or if there is unification. And unification will be a benefit to all of us. Now, the strategic assumption I make in planning and I deal with in Washington is Kim Jong-un is never going to relinquish his nuclear power. He's not going to negotiate it away. It's key to his survival. We've failed for 4 decades to denuclearize, and so we have to have a new approach. And unification is really the only viable path to denuclearization. Now, we should not be lured into complacency because Kim Jong-un has said he no longer seeks peaceful unification. He calls South Korea his main enemy. Yes, he doesn't want peaceful unification. He wants domination. Domination of the entire peninsula so that he can survive by ruling a guerrilla dynasty and gulag state. So we must understand the nature, the objectives, and the strategy of the Kim family regime. Kim is conducting political warfare. He is using blackmail diplomacy, which is really to extort concessions by raising tensions. And he's developing advanced military technology to support both political warfare and blackmail diplomacy, and ultimately war if he chooses to attack the South. So we're at an inflection point. North Korea's new policies have really changed the dynamics and really have confused the Korean people in the North because they believe unification is the path to their salvation as well. But now he's taken that away. But South Korea has chosen to seek peaceful unification. It has the moral high ground. And so democracy and freedom are an example for the Korean people in the North. So the U.S. should support South Korea, and civil society, people like all of us now, can support Korea with a new strategy that's focused on achieving a free and unified Korea. Now, new policy, I say 2+3, our traditional policy of deterrence and defense. Again, we must prevent war. We also must counter North Korea's global illicit activities, its cyber operations, all of its illicit activities. But what we really need to focus on are these 3 things. A human rights upfront approach, to educate the Korean people in the North about their own human rights. And the number 1 human rights that the Korean people in the North need to know is from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights from the United Nations. Article 21 says all people have the right to self-determination of government. We have that here in the United States. The Korean people in the South have it, but the Korean people in the North have never experienced that. They need to understand they have the right to self-determination of government. An information campaign to inform the Korean people, to educate them, to empower them. 5 parts to an information campaign, massive amounts of information, news and entertainment. Practical information, how to improve agriculture, how to improve markets, and how to conduct collective action. They need facts and truth. You can't just send the truth. They got to have facts. Facts backed up by action, and then they understand the truth. I learned that from my good friend Hyun Sung. They don't believe everything, but when they see the facts, they add up to the truth. They also need understanding. Again, understanding of their human rights and their freedoms. And lastly, they need to hear the stories from the North Korean diaspora, from those escapees who are living successfully, and those who can communicate, be key communicators who have the legitimacy to tell the stories of what the world is like to the Korean people in the North. And lastly, the pursuit of a free and unified Korea. This is really what we must focus on, and not simply denuclearization. We cannot be caught up in the myopic focus of denuclearization. We must keep our eye on what will solve the Korean question. So there are 4 pathways to unification. War, we don't want that to happen. Regime collapse, that's dangerous. Peaceful unification is what we must plan for and we want, but really the optimal one is change inside North Korea, transformation inside, change by the Korean people in the North, and that happens through information and human rights. Peaceful unification planning, though, has application whatever happens. Peaceful unification is the most complex because it requires the complete integration of 2 economies, 2 political systems, 2 militaries, and 2 diverging cultures. But it provides the most comprehensive pathway to unification and integration of the North and the South. All of us must support change inside North Korea. Our Declaration of Independence is really the foundation for universal human rights. All people are created equal. We all have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That influenced the 1919 Korean Declaration of Independence, a brilliant document. I recommend reading it. That Declaration of Independence in 1919 also influenced Gandhi and the quest for independence in India and nonviolent change, who also influenced Martin Luther King and his nonviolent change. Now, today we have the Korean Dream, and really that's the next step in this virtuous circle of independence and unification. The Korean Dream provides a vision, and in fact, the Korean Dream has influenced South Korea's 815 unification doctrine. If you read that book and compare their doctrine, there are tremendous parallels. And so what we want to see in the future is not a North Korea, not a South Korea, a united Republic of Korea, UROK. So to conclude, we need a human rights focused strategy that's information driven. It's the only sustainable path to unification. And the Korea question is in paragraph 60 of the 1953 Armistice Agreement, what has suspended hostilities for the last 7 decades. And the military leaders recognize there's no military solution to the Korea question. And the Korea question is the unnatural division of the Korean peninsula. It must be solved by the Korean people. There must be a political solution. And so the military commanders recognize that, and it's up to the Korean people, the political leaders, to make that happen. The U.S. must support this. We have blood on our hands in Korea. We were responsible for the colonial occupation by Japan in 1905, the Taft-Katsura Agreement. We divided the country in 1945, which was to defend it, to prevent the complete communist domination, and we did that using a National Geographic map, finding the 38th parallel, 2 colonels, Charles Bonesteel and Dean Acheson or Dean Rusk, working at the State Department, to prevent the Soviet Union from taking all of Korea. But it divided the Korean peninsula, and it's divided, of course, to this day. So we have a responsibility to help, but unification has to be led by the Korean people. And of course, change in North Korea is required really to protect us here in the homeland as well. So we're not just doing this just out of the goodness of our heart or the fact that we owe our Korean allies the help. It protects us here at home. So my 12 words: unification first, then denuclearization. The path to unification is through human rights. And it'll be a new nation, a united Republic of Korea, UROK, or I like to say, UROK. But we want human rights, information in the North, a free and unified Korea. And what happens on the Korean Peninsula will have global effects, and unification will have global benefits. And so I will stop there